My name is Craig Stumbaugh from Jupiter Systems. I'm the Director of Sales for North America. I've been with Jupiter for 15 years now, so long time with the organization. And we're going to be going through an overview of our Catalyst video wall processors today. And I'm sure that there's going to be questions along the way on different capabilities, feature sets, things like that. We're going to hold all the questions to the end and then do our best to go through and answer those questions. But if you could post your question in the chat, then we're going to address them there in the chat portion of Zoom. And we'll address those at the end. I know we've got this scheduled for an hour, but right now my goal is to get through the presentation side of it in about 30 to 40 minutes. And then focus on the Q&A portion for the remainder of the call. So those of you who aren't familiar with Jupiter Systems, Jupiter has been around building display wall processors for 39 years. We were started in 1981. And all of our products are designed and manufactured in our ISO 9001 facility in Hayward, California, which is just outside of San Francisco. So all of our technical resources are there, and that's where all of our products are designed and built. Our support team is also based out of Hayward, California, and they do support worldwide efforts on the support side. So we do have, a great support team. And then we've also got our sales team and our pre-sales engineers scattered around the world as well. So we've got good worldwide coverage, but all of our products, again, are designed and built and shipped from the United States elsewhere in the world. So today we're here to talk about the Catalyst family of processors and the different models that make up that family of products. And here on the screen you can see that we've got the different models from left to right. These products are designed for 24/7 mission critical applications. So they have redundant power supplies, redundant cooling, RAID array configurations, things that are all critical for command and control mission critical applications, no matter what the application is. And with all of our Catalyst processors comes the Canvas collaboration software to manage those systems. And throughout the presentation, we'll briefly talk about Canvas, but the primary focus here today is the Catalyst video wall processors. Additionally, all of our processors can be managed through our open API for touch panel control. And that allows integrators to incorporate touch panel systems such as Crestron, AMX, and other touch panel systems to manage systems and make it simple for operators to operate those systems through a touch panel. Additionally, every one of these processors is running a Windows 10 LTSC operating system on them. So you can also load applications on any of these models and run applications in addition to the inputs or other sources that are connected and want to be presented on the wall. And that is a very big benefit to the Jupiter solution, that we're able to actually run applications in conjunction with inputs and drive those displays. So while we're talking about displays, because we manufacture the display wall processors, that allows us to connect to any type of display in the industry. And there's no significant order here that you see on the left-hand column, but a large percentage of systems do get installed with HD LCD monitors. We're starting to see some 4K displays in video wall orientation where we've got narrow bezels on them. And both of those display types can be driven either in landscape or portrait mode. Portrait mode is something that we recently added in the last 12 months. And that allows us to rotate the content to drive those displays that might be in portrait orientation, which we see in certain applications or signage applications. Additionally, we're seeing more and more direct view LED applications. These are the large, bright LED walls. We're starting to see these 1.5, 1.2, 0.9, and certain other applications are actually using a smaller or tighter pixel pitch than 0.9. We're able to drive all of those display types. It doesn't matter what their pixel pitch is. We can drive and manage the content on all of those. Additionally, projectors. We still see in certain applications projectors being utilized, and also video wall cubes. Both the projectors and cubes were probably some of the first video walls that were out there many years ago, and we continue to support those display technologies as they're still very viable in many applications. On the input side, we support, of course, HD direct inputs and 4K inputs. Every one of those processors we saw on the previous slide has the ability to accommodate those types of inputs. And now we also have the ability to support 8K inputs on the larger processors in that product family. So we are maintaining a very forward-thinking, future-proof design to be able to support those 8K inputs, and we do synchronize those inputs to make sure that we maintain in-sync timing of those sources. And then we also have the ability to connect HDCP sources for over-the-air broadcast applications that do have HDCP content protection. On the network side, as more and more applications evolve, we're seeing more network-based applications, web pages, various applications like that from internal local network sources as they may be, remote desktops. All of these sources can be presented on our video wall processor, either through different applications such as IP decoding of IP cameras, locally run SCADA client applications, which we may see, or encoded sources, where a source is encoded to an H.264 or H.265 format, and then we're decoding that and presenting that on the wall. So with all those various inputs, we pretty much can capture any type of source and present that on the wall, driving any display technology that's currently in the market. So what is the application that kind of manages all this and gives the users the ability to control the wall? That's Canvas. And we introduced Canvas about 5 years ago, and Canvas obviously manages the content on the wall, but it also has some attributes that give users the ability to remotely manage the wall. They don't have to be in the same room or even in the same building. They can manage that wall from anywhere in the world and manage the content on that wall. And we also make sure that we maintain security of who has the ability to manage that content or control various sources through the Active Directory integration and the permission sets that are set forth there. These processors, again, all come with Canvas installed on them. And then when we deploy that into an enterprise application, then we will deploy the Canvas server in the enterprise, and that will manage the different Canvas clients throughout the environment. Canvas is based on a simple drag and drop UI. We want to make this as easy as possible for the users, because the users can be, experts all the way down to novice users that for the first time they're sitting down in front of a wall processor and they're responsible for managing the content on a wall. So we want to make sure that that's very easy and simple to use. So drag and drop is very simple and intuitive for users to get involved in. Another benefit is that through Canvas, we can manage a single wall, or we can manage multi-walls simultaneously. So you can select the wall that you want to manage and manage the content on that wall, either for those users or with those users that are in that space that wall is present in. Just to take a look here at the UI of Canvas, and we plan on having a follow-up webinar. The next webinar is going to be a Canvas-based webinar to kind of go into Canvas in more detail, but we wanted to address some high-level functionality of Canvas in this one because it's integral to the Catalyst display wall processors. The Canvas client is web-based, so it's very simple to manage through a browser. And we've enhanced that with several updates with a new release that's coming out in the next month or two. The advanced security controls I had mentioned earlier is the integration with Active Directory, and that allows us to manage permission down to the source level. Of course, we touched on the drag and drop capability here, and this kind of gives you a representation here on the right. So what you see in the dark area is the video wall and the different sources that are on there, and then you've got your source list on the left. So I can simply drag from that source list onto the wall and then resize those sources as I want to on the video wall. I can run a Canvas client pretty much on any device, whether it's a desktop, tablet, or a smartphone. So you've got a lot of options on how you want to manage the wall. And some new features that we're releasing are the layout launcher, which allows you through a single button to launch layouts on the wall, either the wall you're managing or another wall. And then we're also incorporating thumbnails for each one of the sources here in the source list, because the word description may not accurately describe a source, and a visual thumbnail may be more accurate or more user-friendly for certain applications. So we're incorporating thumbnails in with the text description of each one of those sources. So very powerful, very flexible, and again, it's web-based, so it makes it very easy for users to deploy and utilize. So here's an example of a single wall application. On the far left, we've got our different applications that may be running locally on the video wall processor. These are Microsoft-based applications. They can be other types of applications such as SCADA clients or other applications that users might want to run in conjunction with the inputs they want to see. And then as we move down the list, we've got our direct connect sources, and these can be whatever it may be. It might be an operator workstation, might be from cable box or satellite TV box, and then 4K sources. And we're starting to see more and more 4K sources in certain markets like utilities and other applications that are using very high resolution sources that they want to present on the wall. Then below that, we've got our IP sources, and this is where we see a lot of our IP cameras coming in from security and traffic management applications, VNC software, then our web-based applications that may be a web page that users are using for dashboards or other applications. We support all that on the Catalyst, and we can present all of those sources simultaneously on the wall. And then in the middle, we've got the Catalyst, and the Catalyst display wall processors are all custom configured, so you can configure these based on the types of inputs and outputs that you need to drive the wall. And in this case, the wall we're driving is a 4x2 of displays. So this is a simple single wall application. The next, we've got the same source options, or maybe we've got different source options going to different walls, but we've got two video walls. And here we've got two different Catalyst processors, one managing a smaller wall, one managing a larger wall. And the real benefit to the Catalyst family of processors is that they're all custom configured based on the input and output configurations of the application. So that allows the integrator to customize the processor for the specific function or application that it's being utilized for, but yet still offer the flexibility to expand that in the future if they want to add additional input capability or drive additional displays in the future. So it's very flexible. And again, Canvas is the user interface or application that we're running to manage the content on these walls. So how do we use these Catalyst display wall processors in practice, and how do we configure them, and what are the applications that they're typically used for in an everyday world and applications? So we want to go through some of these examples so you can kind of see how we vary the configuration for each of these applications. So this first one, high level typical configuration or common requirement of a traffic management center is a lot of IP inputs, a lot of IP cameras, roadside cameras that need to be presented on a video wall, and potentially other IP sources that they want to see. We have the ability to configure our system to decode those IP streams. We've got dedicated hardware. Our decoding card, our StreamPoint decoder card, is configured to decode those streams, and we can add as many of those cards as need be. And in our largest video wall processor, we have the ability to decode over 1,000 1080p cameras simultaneously on the wall. So a lot of decoding capability built into these processors. And then we've got a requirement for direct inputs. And these can be operator workstations. It can be traffic management software that they may want to run on a server, or they may potentially want to run that locally on the processor as well. And then you've got GIS, or graphical information systems, which may show satellite imagery, mapping data, things like that. But traditionally, traffic applications have a significant requirement for IP cameras, and being able to configure the Catalyst to accommodate all of the IP cameras is crucial in these environments, so that we're able to meet the needs of the application and the users. A real-world example of where this is utilized is the New Zealand Traffic Authority. And here, you know, they're monitoring 200 camera feeds simultaneously and incorporating content from weather systems and other sign data that they need to manage that content, as well as other traffic and roadway monitoring applications that they utilize. They use our processor to create that common operating picture, and decoding is paramount. We have to make sure that the streams that are decoded on that wall are maintaining the resolution and frame rate that the cameras are outputting. And with our dedicated StreamPoint decoder cards, we're able to achieve those goals. This is another one. We installed this system originally in 2008 for the Beijing Olympics for the Beijing Municipal Traffic Authority. And this is a very large wall. You can kind of get some perspective of the one user that's sitting there, but this wall is roughly 2.5 stories tall. It's made up of 98 displays, and we're driving it with a single video wall processor. And we have upgraded this wall over time and expanded it, as the Beijing Traffic Authority is a great customer of ours. And with that, we're now able to bring in 3,600 different traffic signals and IP streams from different road data sensors and other applications that they want to see on the wall. But what's important to see here is that we're actually running an application, which is satellite imagery, locally on the video wall processor. And because those 98 displays make up the desktop of the processor, we're able to run that application natively at the complete resolution of the wall and show that pixel for pixel over the entire wall. And then we can bring IP cameras on top of that for the given area that they want to look at an IP camera. So that's the real benefit of running applications on the video wall processor in conjunction with the inputs or sources that want to be displayed. Moving on to utility applications. So these can be gas, electric, hydro, telecommunication, whatever it might be. And here the requirements change a little bit. Typically, we don't see a lot of IP camera streams in utility applications. It's more about data, application data, and that application data is relevant to the specific network of power or gas that they're overseeing and managing. And those are typically a SCADA application that we see, or internal dashboards from EMS systems or other types of systems that they would use in a utility space that give them statistical information that they need to see, you know, usage, capacity, things like that, but yet give them an overview of the entire SCADA network that they're overseeing. So again, having the ability to run those applications natively on the wall, pixel for pixel over a large video wall, is crucial. And we meet that need easily with the Catalyst processors. And then in addition to that, we can still bring in direct connect inputs of operator workstations or additional GIS sources or web-based sources that they may want to see on the wall, in addition to those SCADA applications and internal dashboards. So again, it's how we customize or configure the system to meet those needs for the various markets and those applications. Another one, this one is a long-standing customer of ours, Pacific Gas and Electric, or PG&E as we refer to it. This is a very large utility in North America. It's actually the largest utility in North America, and they're managing not only electric but gas as well. And with that, we've got over 25 Catalyst display wall processors deployed here, and hundreds of Canvas clients for users to manage not only the video wall, but to collaborate with their peers, to work with outages or fires, to track fires throughout the California area, because you hear about the California wildfires every year. And they use our system and the Catalyst video wall processors to manage and mitigate the impact on their operations center with these systems. So it's been a great success for both PG&E and Jupiter, and how we're able to support them and they use our technology to minimize the impact on their customers. Another one in the utility space, this one's a little different. This is oil and gas exploration. ConocoPhillips, a very large worldwide company. We've deployed several operating systems, several video wall controllers here in different operation centers that they have in Canada and Norway. And they use these facilities to communicate and collaborate with their on-site drilling teams that are doing oil exploration in the oil shales or oil sands in northern Alberta, which is pretty remote. And they are able to mitigate disasters when they happen. So if they have pipe ruptures, or they have a well fire, or they have other issues, they're able to mitigate those very quickly utilizing the Catalyst Canvas solution, because they're able to see real time and communicate through Canvas with their teams that are out in the field, actually on site, and they're able to coordinate their production efforts between their Norway facility and the Alberta facility. So Canvas, utilizing the Catalyst display wall processors at both ends has been very beneficial for them, and allowed them to become far more efficient. And an interesting story with this is the Alberta installation was the first one that went in, and when it did, they had a bit of a disaster, and they were able to recover from that in less than a day. And traditionally that disaster would have taken well over 5 days to recover from. So within the first day of deploying the system, it more than paid for itself and saved them millions of dollars of lost production. So it was a very successful installation at that application site. Government, this is another very large sector for Jupiter. And with this, we get involved in various applications in government installations. These government installations can be military applications for frontline battle command centers. And with these applications, security is paramount. And here we see a lot of direct inputs. Because of security, we're getting sources that are on secure and non-secure networks and different levels of secure networks. So we have to maintain the security of those. So we've got a lot of direct connect input requirements in the government space. And those direct connect inputs maintain isolation of those secure networks, so that we're not crossing networks or sharing content potentially between networks that are non-secure and secure. And then satellite imagery, the ability to run those satellite applications locally on the processor are very critical. So this is an installation that we had done a couple years ago. This is a very high-level room at the White House that they use for various applications, such as both classified and non-classified operations, briefings, and then teleconference applications. And because this is a very dynamic and fluid space, this system is able to be reconfigured on the fly and be able to go from a non-class meeting to a top secret classified in space. And so it's got a lot of flexibility, and we do that with the Catalyst display wall processor, being able to change its input set, the networks that it's connected to, and then how it's being utilized by the personnel that are in those rooms. Security. Security is a very large market for us. We get involved in a lot of security operation centers, global security operation centers. And with these, very similar to traffic management centers, IP camera streams are very important. And there are a lot of IP cameras that are typically required to be viewed or presented on the video wall. So again, having that StreamPoint 4K decoder card in the Catalyst processor allows us to provide a decoder dedicated for each one of those streams. And because the systems are configurable, we can have several of these cards to decode dozens, hundreds, if not over 1,000 camera streams simultaneously on the wall. Also, we see a lot of direct inputs. These direct inputs are going to be inputs from access control. Again, could be television for news and weather because they need to get updates of what's going on around them and things that may impact the security of the operation that they're managing or overseeing. One of our successful applications here is AbbVie Pharmaceutical. They're using the Catalyst display wall processors to drive 3 walls and the Canvas software to manage the oversight of their operations around the world. These are their production facilities, their labs, as well as their personnel as they're traveling around the world. And they also use this to maintain the security of their personnel as their personnel travel out into the field, whether it be a jungle to find an obscure flower for a new drug that they're using or developing, or across a country where there may be an earthquake. Would they use this to make sure that they have access to that employee at all times? They know where that employee is, and in the event of an earthquake or a natural disaster, they're able to evacuate those personnel and also manage the operation if there is some impact to the operation or their production ability through the visibility that the Catalyst display wall processor is presenting on the wall and the Canvas software. So it's a very powerful tool for them and how they utilize it in this application. Some other customers and some other applications we've done around the world. You know, we've gotten involved with security at different malls, very large malls. Utility companies, again, utility space is a very large market for us, many different applications there. Health ministries, we get involved, especially with what's going on in the world and the pandemic today. We're involved with a lot of health departments, the CDC, World Health Organization, in this case, the Ministry of Health in Kuwait, and several other health agencies around the world to coordinate efforts and be able to share and collaborate through our Catalyst display wall processors and the Canvas software that they're running. So in review, you know, all of our systems are customizable on the input and output side. They're all purpose-built for 24/7 applications, and they're all running the Canvas software. And if we look from left to right, we've got the CRS 4K, which is our smallest video wall processor. We see this deployed a lot in war rooms, conference rooms, different huddle spaces where they want to have a 4K huddle space. It's a good small wall processor. And then as we move to the right, we have the C series. This one has more I/O capability than the CRS 4K. And this is designed for small and medium-sized applications. And this has, again, more input and output configurability. And then as we move again to the right, we've got the Catalyst 4K. Both the Catalyst 4K and the Catalyst XL share the same PC architecture and PC resources for running applications. So when we get into larger installations where they're going to be running more intense applications such as DirectX or OpenGL, we'll use the Catalyst 4K or the Catalyst XL. And these, again, offer greater input and output capacity over the C series or the CRS. The Catalyst 4K is a single chassis unit, but has the ability to drive several displays and then configured with several inputs and input options. And here's where we start getting into the more robust configurations where we're going to incorporate multiple CPUs. We're going to incorporate higher RAM for running those applications, and then incorporating different RAID options. We can support RAID 1, RAID 5 with 3 drives and give users the peace of mind that their hardware that's managing their operations is going to be reliable and backed up and have redundancy built into it. And then the Catalyst XL, this is our flagship processor. This has the greatest input and output expandability and capability. Again, all running Windows 10 LTSC. The Catalyst XL, we can put a lot of decoder cards in there to decode, like I say, over 1,000 IP streams that we can't do in any of the other models. It has the greatest capacity for both displays and for input and input decoding. So that is the family of Catalyst display wall processors. We're going to continue to add on to these processors over time as technology evolves. Our products are designed to be in a production cycle anywhere from 3 to 5 years, in certain cases even longer. And we, again, utilize these to meet the needs of various projects or applications in different markets. And our team is obviously here to help you and your teams develop the best solution possible for you. And with that, everybody who's registered for this webinar will be contacted personally as a follow-up to make sure that we've addressed all of your questions, even beyond the chat, or to discuss with you different applications you may have or different scenarios that you might want to utilize a video wall processor in. And we can go into more detail in those applications or in those discussions based on the application needs that you have, and bring some of our field engineers, our pre-sales engineers into that conversation to help facilitate that. So look for contact by one of our regional sales managers or field sales engineers as it may be, and we'll be sure to follow up with each one of you that attended and registered for this seminar. And like I said, we're going to have a follow-up webinar to this in a few weeks, and that one is going to discuss Canvas in greater detail so that you can go through the use case of Canvas, the application of Canvas, and the problems that it's solving. Thanks again for joining. Have a great day.